I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot to hit go live. I am... It has been a crazy week. I forgot to hit go live, and I feel very bad. Thank you for letting me know that literally the first, 20 minutes of this race was for nothing, and that is very unfortunate. So we're under caution. I feel very, very bad about that, folks. So we're under caution for those who are just tuning in, which is everybody. RJ Bishop, the race leader with Blake Warren. The race has been dominated by Zach Rogers so far. The pace car will come down the pit area. We're going to get back to green flag racing here on lap number 33. 2 cautions coming out so far tonight. RJ Bishop with a really good restart on the inside, but Zach Rogers trying to get down to the inside of him as well. Blake Warren tracking back on those older tires. Nicky Conti to the inside of that Gabs Tats number 85 car. First time that you guys are seeing that here tonight. And Bishop has been passed for the race lead by Rogers. I feel really stupid for that, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe I forgot to hit go live and missed the first 25 minutes of this race, but nonetheless, a little bit of a quick reintroduction to this race. For those who probably don't know, of course, my stream deck is being very, very funky right now. For those who don't know, this is the Blue Smoke Graphics Crash at the Colosseum here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. My name is Trey Wright, and this is the race that Nicky Conti is sponsoring here tonight. She is running a cool 4th place in car number 85. RJ Bishop right now rounding out the podium. Two cautions on the card so far. Zach Rogers won the pole position for this race. 2 cars are out of this race. Corbin Wentz and Ike Durbin. Durbin spun around twice before the first caution was called, and Corbin Wentz pulled off 27 laps ago. Brendan Whitford currently the only car off of the lead lap as of right now of the 13 cars that are still on track. And RJ Bishop drawing a bead right on the back end of Apollo Hyde. Bishop finished second in last week's race, got real loose off of turn number 2. Was able to hold that number 28 machine. So it's Hyde not letting Zach Rogers pull away from her. Now that we've got people watching the screen, we'll go through some of these shop local sponsors here. Of course, tonight's theme is shop local here for the Fuel Racing League. We've got quite a few drivers that are shopping local. Of course, figuratively, funnily enough, the top 3 do not have sponsors where you can shop local, although I believe Digital Storm might be a shop local sponsor for Zach Rogers as we approach the 3rd of the waypoint through tonight's race. And Rogers has not gotten away. He's not pulled away like we typically see him do so in a lot of these races. Of course, Jelaine Sims, his teammate at Team Velocity, not in this race just yet. Brendan Whitford in danger of going 2 laps down, and there's a good example of a couple of drivers with some of these shop local themes. Brendan Whitford will go 2 laps down at Castle Cleaning Products / Tops Friendly Markets. Number 131 car, same thing with Trek Togger. in the KC Brick Store Octane machine. He'll plow the outside wall off of turn 4, no harm, no foul. And that's actually going to help out Rogers a little bit in terms of getting through lap traffic. Bishop got held up quite a bit, but got 4 cars all in line here at Thunder Valley, the Bristol Motor Speedway, the Bum and Beaver Brewery. Colors returning to Rich Roy's Mazda. He's the next one on the chopping block. Journey Rewards on for Rafaela Sorensen. Drew Fast, first time we're seeing his name here tonight in the Jesse Little number 4 machine, and around goes Emi Schizzato. That is going to be a multi-car crash. Waiting for the yellow flag to officially come out, and it does. Our 3rd caution of the evening, and that is the 3rd caution that Emi Schizzato has been a part of. Tough break for Schizzato this evening. Kicked off caution number 1 by turning around. Nicky Conti got spun around by the 4 machine for caution number 2, and now was once again punted by the 4 of Drew Fast for our 3rd caution of the evening here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and Zach Rogers' lead will evaporate just a little bit here. So Rogers will lead the field down the pit area. Restart of shame for both the 9 and the 131. Go ahead and take a quick look and see what happened with Schizzato. Got punted around by the 4 machine, and we saw that happen live, so we knew that was going to be a multi pretty much the second we saw it. And then, yeah, just some ARCA brakes out of the 4 of Drew Fast. Up into the outside wall goes Schizzato. Will back that rear end into the concrete wall. Rafaela Sorensen splitting the gap between the newbie and their significant other in car number 42. And it's a tough break for Schizzato so far this evening. The field comes down the pit lane. Zach Rogers looking to retain that race lead in car number 88. Both he and Apollo Hyde will come out simultaneously of the pit lane. Of course, we were not live for this incident, but we'll go ahead and take a look at what happened during caution number 1 with Ike Durbin, because that was pretty weird. Ike Durbin in the Dark Matter Coffee Mazda for Millennium Autosport. This is what happened in front of the race leader. Hitting a 180 right in front of him. In fact, a 360. Tyler Stallhood also spun there as well. And coming back through the gears, Zach Rogers will be on the outside lane of Tyler Stallhood when we go back through the restart zone. 15 cars still on track. Stallhood, who was the only driver other than Zach Rogers to get a green flag lap led under green. Actually, Stallhood was going to come down the pit lane. I believe he did the wave around in that 7 car. So by the looks of it, Zach Rogers will be going back to the race lead here. Apollo Hyde will be on the outside of row number 1. Field goes down the back straightaway. We'll once again like to say thank you for everybody tuning in to tonight's contest here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Zach Rogers has led all but only a handful of laps. All of them were onto the caution. Going to lead 48 of the 54 laps ran so far tonight in Thunder Valley. Green flag is back out and away, and an even start between Rogers and Hyde. Rogers, of course, will get the jump on the inside of Hyde. And, oh, hard to the outside wall goes Bishop. Got into Focusato. And those two are fortunately able to keep it together, but that was a Michael Waltrip-looking hit for R.J. Bishop. Fortunately, in this version of Bristol, there's no crossover gate, so he did not tear apart his car. Tyler Stallhood, good save out of your buddy. And that McKay's Toy Store number 7 machine. Blake Warren splitting the gap. Stallhood, once again, the last car on the lead lap right now. Brendan Whitford. I'm surprised Whitford didn't take the wave around that time to get back on the lead lap. Very weird, but nonetheless, Zach Rogers back to his second biggest lead of the evening so far. Had a second in length lead over Apollo Hyde before that first caution between Nicky Conti and Emi Schizzato. Schizzato is still on the track. There she is, car number 9. Currently inside the top 10 in 7th. Somebody thought was going around. There's a pretty good battle between Blake Warren and Tyler Stallhood. Warren into the outside wall. Again, Bristol. It's Bristol. There's no other way to really describe this track other than it's Bristol. 36 degrees of banking. You know, these guys can run about 60 to 70 laps on a full tire run. It's a little similar to Darlington in terms of tire wear. Of course. It's like racing fighter jets in a gymnasium. It's like racing cars in a cereal bowl. It's the last great Colosseum, Thunder Valley, the world's fastest half mile, whatever you want to call it. That's what BMS is all about, and cannot wait. It has just been it's going to be one heck of a race weekend at Bristol. I know my little brother Matthew is excited. Shout out to Matthew Wright and the entire Rise Motorsports group. Bringing back an Earnhardt into the seat. Bobby Dale Earnhardt in the number 31 Rise Motorsports machine for tomorrow evening's race at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Hopefully they'll be able to make the show. I think there's 34 cars on the entry list at Bristol. That is going to be one heck of a race at the Cereal Bowl. That's tomorrow afternoon at 5, I want to say. Speaking of covers, taking a look at the updated schedule since we did not see that earlier on. Got 2 new races added to the slate. Kansas has been subbed out for the Chicago Motor Speedway, not the Chicagoland Speedway, the Chicago Motor Speedway, the wide and flat track up in Cicero. So we're going to be making some Better Call Saul references in that race. If you know, you know. We got Michigan next week. That's going to be a blast. Chicago the week after that in 2 weeks. Mid-Ohio is going to be fun. Hopefully I don't get heat stroke like I did at the ARCA race last year. Las Vegas. If you guys tuned into that Sportsman race at Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, that was a hell of a race, and that's going to be a heck of a race here for the Grand National cars as well. Talladega the week after that, and that's going to be our movie theme as Rich Roy squirting in and out there in that Bum and Beaver Brewery 29 car. Looks like he's been to the Bum and Beaver Brewery the way that he's driving there in that 29. If I'm Blake Warren, I might be backing up a little bit away from that Millennium Autosport Mazda. After Talladega, we got Pikes Peak. The Ikes Peak races. Ike Durbin will be sponsoring that race. Then the Halloween theme of the Autodrome St. Felician, and then Homestead the week after that to round out all the races. And the caution flag has come out here. Somebody has gone around, and it was Blake Warren. I don't know why my Stream Deck is being idiotic. Don't know why. Maybe this computer's probably been on for too long. That's probably the reason why. But Blake Warren sailing around in turns 1 and 2 will put us under our 4th caution of the evening. As we approach, actually past the midway point through this race, we're already on lap 72, so we're about 50. We got 54 to go. Coming back around this next time by. Nonetheless, take you to what happened there with Blake Warren. And I believe it was just about live when we saw it. This is Blake Warren getting into the back of the 29 car, and Tyler Stallhood nearly setting him up the racetrack. Again, oh my lord! Oh, Nikki! Oh boy. That was nearly disaster for about 2/3 of the podium right there. That was interesting, to say the least. That was quite interesting. Get on the replay graphic. Look at RJ Bishop as everybody coming off of the pit lane. Zach Rogers, once again, first car off of the pit area. Looks like we're going to get this race restarted with 50 laps to go, or maybe just under 50 laps to go, but Zach Rogers, haha, funny number, has led 67 laps so far tonight. Make that the number 68. I was telling everybody in the server, I feel bad for the number 68 because historically, the number 69 has been funny. As of recently, the number 67 has been funny. I don't know the reason why, but it's been funny. What I want the number 68 to be known for is, of course, Will Kimmel putting together a blisteringly fast lap at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the pole in the ARCA race back in May. That's what I want the number 68 to be known for. But the number 88 has been fast all evening long. Blake Warren going to the end of the longest line there in car number 8. We're going to get everything reset here. Nicky Conti is going to jump up to the outside. That's a bold strategy, Cotton. But hey, Gap Stats Ford Mustang. See what they're able to do here on this restart. It'll be exactly 49 to go. We'll take it back through the restart zone. Zach Rogers with the fastest lap in this contest. A 15.64 second lap time here. The last great Colosseum. 49 to go as the green flag is back out in the air and shot like a rocket. That number 88 of Zach Rogers, the dominant car of this contest. And he is out like a rocket there. And Apollo Hyde quickly following suit. Tyler Stallhood looking for a podium finish, and he's going to get crossed over by Focusato. Still really anybody's race, but it's going to take a lot of effort to dethrone Zach Rogers' perch. Looking for that 5th win in a row in that 88 machine. Apollo Hyde trying to follow suit, has been running in his tire tracks all evening long, and Blake Warren has spun it around in turn 3. He is out of the way of the leaders, as Rogers will blow past him on the outside. Hyde trying to grab an extra gear in that 100 Honda. Chevrolet, Honda, Ford, Toyota, and Mazda, your top 5. 5 different manufacturers, all being represented at the front end of this field. First Dodge in line, the only Dodge in the field. Rafaela Sorensen running in 8th, nearly ran into Blake Warren. I'm not sure what... Oh, that's a Dodge. It's being ran by Brendan Whitford here this evening. I'm not sure what happened to RJ Bishop, but he fell back a lot in that number 28 machine. He's just outside of the top 9 right now. I believe this is the battle for 10th right here. Rather, that was the battle for 9th between Bishop and Togger. Now it's Rich Roy who's on the outside looking in of the top 10. Way up the racetrack went Apollo Hyde. She had to grab control of that car, and she was able to bring him back under control. That's exactly what Zach Rogers wants to see out of his rear view mirror. And how about Nicky Conti? Brought out the first caution of the night, getting a tap from Emi Schizzato. Is recovered to be up in 3rd right now. And if this race goes caution-free, I believe these guys should be able to make it on fuel. outside right now. Not able to chip in Zach Rogers' lead. And I'm trying to figure out, because right now it says this stream has been going on for 45 minutes, but based on everything I've seen, yeah, I believe, I don't know, I'll have to check the stream later, but I do believe that the stream started late. If anybody could go back, refresh the page and go back and see if the stream in fact started, because right now it said that it's been going on for 45 minutes. But if anybody could go back and see if the stream indeed started 45 minutes ago, that would be awesome. But right now, hide underneath of Trek Togger. Lap down car of Togger will go out of the way of the 100. Zach Rogers up to his largest lead of the evening, a second and a half over Apollo Hyde. 35 laps to go. 4 cautions run for 21 laps under the yellow flag, so not a terrible metric compared to the 9 cautions we had here last year. But again, there's still a whole lot of time left. Hey, we got 34 laps left, rather 30 laps left for a caution to come out here to bring that deficit right back down to 0. Rogers is trying to run out of Dodge in that 88 car. 29 of Roy. Warping in and out. Thank you, Osto, for going back and checking. Blake Warren into the inside wall. Lost the grip onto that machine off of turn 2. He's able to get back up and going. We saw that happen live. A tough break for Blake. And Rogers just beating the brakes off of everyone right now, like he has done. Brendan Whitford will go down for a 3rd lap off of the pace. Currently, the last car being scored on the racetrack. That'll change as Blake Warren will bring it down to the pit area for some much-needed repairs. I believe Rogers has been able to get his lead over Hyde. Not quite at 2 seconds, but just 0.2 of a second underneath of that threshold. Rogers has been gunning it, though. He has indeed been gunning it. Next one up, Rafaela Sorensen. Warren coming off of the pit lane after getting his repairs. Under 30 laps to go here from Bristol. Got a good look at the pace car there, and a car that's the same shade of red as the pace car. That Snap-on 28 machine of RJ Bishop, who's into the outside wall. Speaking of Snap-on, got about 25 laps to go this next time by, so what do you say? We send it downstairs for our one and only Snap-on race break. Let's go through the field here. Presented by Fram. Zach Rogers leads the way in that number 88 machine. Pace car, not in second place. That honor will belong to Apollo Hyde in car number 100. Nicky Conti currently rounds out the podium in 3rd. Brendan Whitford back of the field in 12th. Drew Fast, a good recovery for him. Car number 4 runs in position number 4. Vincenzo Focusato runs in 5th. Emi Schizzato 6th. Rich Roy is 11th. RJ Bishop is 7th. Blake Warren 13th. Tyler Stallhood 8th. 9th was Trek Togger, rather 9th is Trek Togger, 10th is Rafaela Sorensen, and that's going to round out all 13 cars still on this grid here this evening at the Bristol Motor Speedway. 21 laps to go for Mr. Zach Rogers. Underneath of Tyler Stallhood. Stallhood will let him by in that McKay's Toy Store number 7 Supra. And Blake Warren has spun it around along with the 29 car, and the caution flag has come out. Like we said, anything can happen to the late stages of this race, and our fifth caution of the evening will come out with 20 laps to go from Bristol. And hold on to your butts, ladies and gentlemen. This is gonna be crazy. We'll take a look and see what happened. Warren got loose underneath of Rich Roy. Roy just got clapped at the 11th hour. Again, right in front of the leaders. Fortunately, Roy did not pull down in front of the racetrack. Very, very unfortunate situation for the driver of that 29, but that race lead is going to completely evaporate for that number 88 machine. Couple of cars taking the wave around. It's RJ Bishop, rather Zach Rogers leading the field down. RJ Bishop is on the other end. He is the caboose of this train. And Apollo Hyde's bid to win this race might not be done yet. That was the 101st lap that Rogers has led this evening. And nobody that is on the lead lap is going to stay out here on these older tires. That was the longest run that we've had here this evening. This is likely going to be the money stop for these drivers. It's unlikely that we'll have the caution come back out here before we get to the point of no return. 4 tires going all the way around that Digital Storm number 88. He is out and away first. Apollo Hyde is second. Conti will get out in third. Drew Fast in fourth. Emi Schizzato not going to beat out Vincenzo Focusato for the top 5 off of the pit lane. Seven make that 8 cars on the lead lap. Rogers hoping he is just able to get as good of a restart as he has had all evening long. Apollo Hyde looking for a little bit of magic underneath that Pegasus Honda. Nicky Conti, the sponsor of this race, would love to get their first win of the season here at the race they're sponsoring. And how about this? We saw it with HB Hardy last week at Watkins Glen, but Drew Fast has come onto the scene in a big way, currently runs in 4th. And of course, Vincenzo Focusato, longtime stalwart of this series, looking to end that winless streak dating all the way back to Daytona of Season 6, all the way back 4th of July weekend. Got to go all the way back to the middle of the summer for Focusato's last trip here to Victory Lane. It'll be a 14-lap dash to the end here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Almost called it the Monster Mile. It's the world's fastest half mile here at Bristol, the Concrete Canyon of Thunder Valley. Lap down cars leading back around to catch up with the tail end of the field. Rogers leads the way. Hyde in second, Conti third, Fast in fourth. 14 laps to go here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. Do we get another yellow flag before this is all said and done? Rogers, through the gears we go. Green flag back out and away. How aggressive are these guys going to be? Very aggressive. That's going to be the name of the game. Oh, and Schizzato into Focusato. Somehow they all saved it. Focusato is going to fall way back in that number 37 machine. That did not constitute as a multi, though. It's an incredible save out of both drivers, and Zach Rogers trying to put the pedal to the metal and get out of Wichita City. He is trying to run away from that 100. Whitford is gone around once again in the 131, and Hyde is trying to close in on the back end of that 88. She's right on the back bumper of that Camaro. What can she do to get back into the battle here? As we go on board with Apollo Hyde, taking you around the Bristol Motor Speedway. A little bit of warpage in and out there of that 100 car. Trying to find a ledge underneath the 88, but Rogers is just so strong in that Camaro. Here she comes, trying to come down to the inside. Now on board with Rogers. And that 100 front bumper eerily close. A little too close for comfort, but we have seen Rogers come out on the positive side of this matchup plenty of times before. 9 laps to go from the Bristol Motor Speedway. This is the battle these fans have came, stayed, and are getting ready to see here. Hyde right on the back bumper of Rogers. Rogers has led north of 100 laps so far tonight. He has been the man to beat, but Hyde just looking for a little bit of late race magic. Still on the back end of the 88, Whitford is out of the way. Nearly got clipped by Apollo Hyde. He had to get out of the gas to get around him. 7 laps to go, getting very, very close to the point of no return. Once we hit 5 to go, you wreck now, that's it. Rogers is trying to drive the wheels off of that Camaro. Same thing with Apollo Hyde and then some. Trying to find some wings out of that Pegasus Honda. Catching up to lap traffic. Everybody trying to get out of the way of the top duo. 5 laps to go from the Bristol Motor Speedway. We're at the point of no return. You wreck now, it doesn't matter. You go into the catch fence, it doesn't matter. Up the racetrack goes Apollo Hyde. That took away a lot of her momentum, and that may be the race right there. Real good battle for third heating up between Conti and Drew Fast if he's able to get into the fray there. 3 to go from the Bristol Motor Speedway for Zach Rogers. The drive for 5 in a row, still very much alive, but not out of the woods yet. Mile to go here from Bristol. And what does Apollo Hyde have left in the tank? Coming around, turns 3 and 4 for the penultimate time. White flag is out. 1 lap to go here from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Zach Rogers down the back straightaway for the final time. Looks like he is going to lead the last lap. He is going to lead 119 laps tonight. Checkered flag is in the air. Zach Rogers gets win number 3 in a row. He wins at Bristol. Batting 1,000 on the season is Zach Rogers, 3 for 3 to start season 7, and he has won his last 5 races entered, and he is immediately going to burn it down on the front straightaway. It was a great effort from Apollo Hyde, but the Bulldog cannot be stopped. So he burns it down on the front straightaway. Vincenzo Focusato trying to get by. I don't think Zach cares. He's almost going to take the 37 out with him. Career win number 31 for Zach Rogers here. He's got 5 of them in a row. He burns it down here in Thunder Valley, USA. Looking to get this championship here in Season 7 as Rogers. That was a dogfight right to the end between him and Hyde. But I think just trying to get around the lap traffic was ultimately the Achilles heel for Apollo Hyde. Just not able to get the job done in time as Zach Rogers will teleport to victory lane. And so will we in due time. Zach Rogers going to Gatorade victory lane here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. We're not quite out of the woods yet. We'll send downstairs to our post-race interviews here in just a couple of moments, and when we come back, we have post-race interviews and our final thoughts here on the race after a fantastic race at the Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. And we are back here after a fantastic race at the Bristol Motor Speedway for race number 3 of the 2025 Season 7 of the Fuel Sportsman Series. The Blue Smoke graphics crash at the Colosseum. Not as much of a crash as we saw last year here. With 9 cautions back in 2024, only 5 cautions here this evening. And Zach Rogers ended up with the victory after one heck of a race here tonight. But of course, starting with a third place driver, as we'll get them in the booth here.
User was moved to your channel.
Starting, of course, with the third place driver, who had an eventful evening tonight, actually brought out the first of the 5 cautions. Driver of the Gabs Tats number 85 machine, Nicky Conti. Nicky, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
Yes, I hear you.
Well, you certainly had an interesting evening after getting spun around for the opening caution of the night on lap number 15 to being able to salvage a third place run. It sounds about as Bristol as you can get, if I don't say so myself.
I'd said in the Discord that I wasn't really fond of this racetrack, but now I'm kind of rethinking that. I said after the race ended, to quote Kurt Busch, maybe they don't have to fill this place up with water anyhow.
Well, maybe with the next-gen car, they might as well do it. Hey, we'll see what the ARCA car can do tomorrow night. But anyway, you're able to battle back from that adversity. But going into this race, you know, it's Bristol. You got high tire wear, high banking. There's literally nowhere to run. What was the strategy coming into tonight, especially being this is the race that you were sponsoring? We'll get on that more later, but what was the strategy coming into tonight's race? Just mostly just trying to survive?
I did a practice race here on Monday evening just against the AI because I have not run a race. I have not run an online race at Bristol in years at this point. I don't even remember the last time. So I was just like trying to be consistent, and I just happened to be at third place at the end of the race. I knew I didn't have anything for Zach and Apollo, so I was just trying to defend. And I was thinking to myself at the end of that race, the 4 car is getting awfully big in my rearview mirror, and I'm thankful I didn't crash into the pressure. Like, you hear my voice, I'm just relieved more than anything. That was a hell of a drive. Like, there was that first incident with Emmy. That was just a stack up. Like, I kind of got into the back of track and I let Vincenzo by in the midst of that. Though as far as I was aware, Shrek and Tyler were racing for position, so I wasn't wanting to push the interview, and I pushed the envelope. I mean,
right.
And I just got run the fuck over. But like after that, I was just trying to stay consistent. Like, oh.
Hey, that's all you can do here at Bristol, is just trying to run consistent, especially when you got a heavyweight battle between Paulo Hyde and Zach Rogers at the front of this field. We'll talk about them more later. But coming into this race, you were one of the many. You were the one who sponsored this race. We'll get into that segment here. Outside, we'll get in that segment here now. You're the one who sponsored this race, and you had a beautiful race car here tonight, brought to you by Gabs Tat. So, talk about what really went into the sponsorship for this race, and talk a little bit about this race car as we got a good look at it here. Just a beautiful, beautiful race car.
Yeah, Blue Smoke Graphics is what I call my graphic design thing. Haven't really done anything serious with it lately because my white whale, as I was telling a friend earlier, has been my music project, which is Exit Wound. And if you can make it out, there's a very small Exit Wound sticker on the rear quarter panels. But Blue Smoke Graphics, haven't done anything serious with it in a while, but it's how I do my graphic design stuff. I do kit cars for NR. I'd like to do like more, you know, t-shirt designs and such. I'm not opposed to that. I wouldn't mind getting a commission for paint schemes if that option is available to me. I was kind of having fun with the race title, as y'all may have noticed. Crash at the Colosseum. It wasn't really wasn't even thinking of this when I came up with the name Blue Smoke. That is the name of an interlude track for the band that was probably most instrumental for me in my high school years, Stone Sour. That's an interlude track on House of Golden Bones Part 2. It was not occurring to me at that time that blue smoke also happens to be a descriptor in racing for the color that engine smoke makes as a car is blowing up. So I was having a bit of fun with wordplay there.
Well, I think you're definitely hoping that both Apollo Hyde and Zach Rogers engines were going to be emitting some blue smoke here tonight, but you're able to get a really good third place run. And again, talk about this design here. Like you said, you're part of a Blue Smoke Graphics, and you've been putting together a lot of just flashy liveries. Talk a little bit more about this car and this the hometown sponsor you got of Gabs Tats.
Gabs Tats is the Instagram profile of a longtime friend of mine. She recently opened her own tattoo studio up in New York. And, you know, I said this at the end of my stream. It's like, she and I, we have known each other since we were really little kids, and we don't get to talk as often as we'd like to anymore, but like, she and I have been through so much even since we left high school. She was the first person to know that I was trans, and I will never, it's a thing that I feel like I can't reciprocate in the ways I want to, and all of the floral designs on that car, on my car, are from pieces of flash that she designed herself. I just traced them over, and I doubt she's listening to this, but I can't say enough about how much that car meant to me. That genuinely might be one of my favorite paint schemes I've ever run, and I'm not even sure she got the message that I did run it. But that's not for right now.
Well, I mean, it was certainly a beautiful car on the face value, and it's made even more special by the name and just the reasoning behind it and the story behind it. And it just makes it just a fantastic car. I wish that we had a Fuel Racing League diecast, because I would absolutely pre-order this. Maybe I'll contact Lionel and see if we can get something going for that. Just an absolutely beautiful car ran by you, and it got tapped in the rear end just a little bit, but nonetheless, just a fantastic race and a fantastic result for a P3 in a pretty stacked field here tonight. Nikki, I believe is this your first podium here on the NASRN?
On NASRN, yes, but I've podium in fuel races before, so this is...
That's what I figured.
Unfamiliar and familiar at the same time.
Well, what we typically do here is we give you the floor for as much time as you want to thank as many sponsors as you want. If anybody you want to shout out here on the NESRN airwaves, the floor is yours, Nikki.
Yeah, I had initially tapped my friend Lucas to do the command for tonight. He wasn't able to come up with that, but you know, he does some beautiful, amazing work for Arca West, and I appreciate him for being so patient with me, even if as I was annoying him to death, probably. Gabby, obviously, the Team EFR crew. I was talking to a friend earlier about this race. I don't know if June is watching, but thank her too. Yeah, I hope to do more of these, because I have to admit, I like yapping. I got my dose of attention for the week.
Well, you definitely did, and hey, brought a beautiful car home in on the podium. Nikki, congratulations for a third place run. We'll see you next week at the Michigan International Speedway.
Thank you, Ken Squire and CBS.
Hey, alrighty.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Nicky Conti, driver of just another beautiful Gab's Tats number 85 Ford Mustang, getting another good look at this machine. I believe the only shop local car to finish inside the podium. Just an absolutely beautiful car and a beautiful story of that as well. And coming up in third, Nicky Conti in that number 85 machine, going ahead a couple spots
User was moved to your channel.
to our second place finisher in tonight's contest, driver of the number 100 Mobile One Epson Honda Civic, Apollo Hyde. Apollo, you got a copy of us here in the broadcast booth?
I certainly do.
Well, you certainly ran quite a few tire tracks here this evening, running second pretty much all of the race, trying to chase down Zach Rogers like a dog trying to chase down a mail truck, but you're able to come up second. How was your evening so far? A track that you've admittedly said that you really hate.
Yeah, this is a track where I think this is actually the first time I've ever finished on the lead lap in a league race at Bristol. So I would consider tonight a massive success. This track usually goes very poorly for me. Yeah, we pretty much just nailed the setup tonight, and that's really lucky considering that at the start of today, we were very uncertain about how the car was going to feel when we got to the racetrack. The racetrack ended up having a little bit less grip in it than we thought it was going to, but then in the middle of the race, we ended up making a tire pressure adjustment that just made the car be on rails, and I kind of wish that we knew about that tire pressure adjustment at the start of the race, because we would have been able to battle for 125 laps instead of those last 15 or so.
Yeah, your car was absolutely rocketing on the short runs, but once we got into about 20 to 25 laps into our run, you kind of started to fade away. And of course, Zach is just that good. What can you really attest to trying to battle with him all night long? You know, being one of the top talents here in the Fuel Racing League, and him being really the upper echelon of the talent as well. What was it like battling him out there?
I mean, you basically, here's the thing, is that with how good Zach is, it's not necessarily trivial to just go up there and pass him. You can be faster than Zach, but being faster than Zach is not good enough to pass Zach. Like, I was definitely faster than him for, I would say, the first 10 laps or so of that run, and there was a bump in turn 3 that was just my boogeyman all night long, and I ended up hitting it, and car kind of went away with me on that last run there at the end. But yeah, it's just, he's just a very good defensive driver. It's really difficult to try to find a space to even just try to pass him. Like, you've seen me try to get around him at Darlington. You've seen me try to get around him at Rockingham. I've been in the 88's tire tracks quite a bit, and it's just it's a tall task. Like I said, it's not good enough to be faster than Zach in order to be able to beat him. You actually have to be fast enough to pass him, and that is exceedingly difficult, because it's hard enough to be faster than Zach, but to be faster than Zach enough to pass him, it is extremely rare circumstances.
And it definitely was here tonight. But hey, being able to run him down in those short runs at a track that you're not a fan of, I'd say that's a pretty big success for you tonight. And then going to Michigan, back to the wide and fast 2-mile oval here. I believe this is the first time. I'm trying to remember, what was our first race of this? What was our first race of the season for this? That was Darlington. So it's our first real big super speedway like track at Michigan. Very fast, very wide. What are your expectations going into that race, where I feel like the field is going to be a lot more put together?
My expectations for Michigan is just like any other super speedway. Don't rack. That's about it. Michigan is another track that I have a very poor success rate at. I've never won at Michigan, and it's a track that I tend to struggle to put strong pacing together. If you saw the race at Sportsman, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm just not in that next level when it comes to Michigan. So our objectives are pretty much just the same as we came into here with the Bristol race. Let's just put a solid day together, and hopefully, if everything works out, we get a good finish.
And don't hit the inner lip on turn 4 like you did in the Sportsman race. We saw that. Yeah, we saw that live from Dunlaprod's view, and that was a jump scare for our first race.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate. Yeah, we don't want to hit the banking transition coming out of turn 4. I have a feeling we're not going to have to worry about that issue, but yeah, we definitely don't want to hit that.
Well, certainly you had a great result here tonight. One step less off of the podium than you're accustomed to, but still a great result. As you know here, we'll give you the floor to shout anybody you want here on the NES Around Airways. Thank any sponsors. The floor is yours.
I don't have really anything to shout out at this time. I just really appreciate you being able to come out here and broadcast this race. I would actually like to thank Nikki Conti for sponsoring this race, coming in third. She did fantastically tonight, and we've got plenty more sponsored races up ahead, and I cannot wait to see what the rest of this season entails for us.
Well, hey, 3 races down, 8 to go. Still a lot of season for you to catch up to Zach Rogers. Apollo, congratulations. Hey, anything can happen, but Apollo, congratulations on a runner-up finish, and we'll see you next week in the Irish Hills.
Sounds good.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Apollo High, driver of the number 100 Pegasus Mobile 1/Epson Honda Civic. Will bring us to our final driver, a driver
User was moved to your
that we have heard from quite a bit here over these last couple of weeks. Driver number 88, Digital Storm Camaro, Zach Rogers, the Bulldog, once again here in the broadcast booth. You got a copy of us?
Yes, sir.
Well, we're starting to run out of questions to ask you, as you just said in the Discord server. This is your 9th win in a row in NR2003. You're going for your 10th tomorrow here, right back at the same bat track and the same bat time. But overall, another dominant performance out of you tonight. Just, again, we're really running out of questions to ask you, man.
Yeah, what can I say? I mean, I don't know whether to run Connor Silich's WeatherTech scheme or to break out the one that bred Ricky Bobby car at this point. I mean, I'm just that good.
Well, definitely. Hey, you were absolutely on rails here this evening, leading 119 of the 129 laps, and you led all of those laps under
29.
125, I should say.
I had to get you on that one, yeah.
It's been a day. It has been a day. It has been a week, to say the least.
You know, that's crazy, because I think I had more of an immediate threat tonight with Apollo this season than back in season 4 last year. I think I still led a lot. I think it was like 113 of the 125 laps, but I had a more immediate threat tonight than I did a year ago.
Yeah, as Apollo Hyde was clawing into you on those short runs, especially on that final run with 14 laps to go. You two were dogfighting in the closest battle all night long. What did you have over the 100 car that you were able to pull away, especially on those long runs? But what do you have left in the tank on that final 14-lap run where Apollo was just right on the back end of you?
I had clean air for 1, and I was in the lead for 2, and he wasn't going to drive through me to win, that's for sure. So we both would have gone to the back, and then we would have had an even crazier potential restart. So I just did what I had to do, and it looked like Apollo was getting random bottom outs. There's a bump in 3, and there would be a couple times where I would inch away at the beginning of a run, and then he would just randomly shoot up the corner in 3, and I'd gain like half a second, and then I'd inch away some more, but I was never more than like 2 seconds ahead. So yeah, I wasn't even really trying to push too hard on some of those short runs, but it just seemed like once we got past like lap 20 of the run, Apollo was like practically even with me. Our lap times were pretty much the same. So
yeah, once you exceeded after lap 20, you were gone out of Dodge City like a bullet, and you were able to get those restarts off of Hyde, and you were just able to have the best overall around car here at the Bristol Motor Speedway, and you're able to dominate, like we said, for 119 of the 125 laps on the schedule. But switching gears to Michigan next week, it's our first mostly a super speedway race of the season where everybody is going to be fairly close together, not like at the plate tracks like Daytona and Talladega that will see Talladega later on, but still it's going to be a wide, fast track where everybody's going to be even, fairly or not. What's the strategy going into that race at the Irish Hills next week?
Well, so Michigan's naturally a fast track with low tire fall off. Usually when we run game track, there's a little bit of tire wear and guys will maybe get tight and you'll see some separation there. But from what Tyler told me, he said, I believe we're running the FSC version, which means there's going to be no tire fall off and we're going to have more grip than game track. So it's just going to be who can make their setup the loosest and not spin out doing so. There will definitely be a little draft that'll play a factor. I'm not sure if it'll be a good outside line defensive track. It's been a while since I've driven a race on the FSC track. So I think my game track setup will work fine. We might be able to make it a teeny bit looser, but I mean, Michigan is one of my best ovals on the game, so I'm not concerned in the slightest. Ultimately, with the way the season has progressed, I don't really have to worry about Apollo since he missed the race. Right now, the focus is to just finish ahead of the 37 and the 28.
Yeah, and Focus Auto finishing this race just inside the top 5. He actually finished this race in 6th after an incident on that final restart. But yeah, you're really clocking ahead of the rest of the competition. But as you've done for the last 5 races, we'll give you the floor to shout out any sponsors you want, thank anybody you want here on the NES Terrain Airwaves. The floor is yours, as usual, Zach.
Yeah, season 3, I clinched the title 2 races early, and I think season 4, I think was 1 race early. I don't know if it was 2 races early. I will say I am curious the way this season has gone. I feel like I've led more in the first 3 races than I usually have. I'm not positive what my laps led in a single season record is, but I do know I hold the record. I set it back in season 4, so we'll see if I can maybe break that for funsies or not. We'll see. But got to thank Cody Lamas for painting the scheme. He is set to do a bit of a channel rebrand for me, some new logos for me, and then I need logos done for a second channel that will be in the works. So I haven't had logos done for my YouTube in about like 8 years now. So it'll be an interesting refresh. We'll see. So we'll see what that looks like. Got to thank you for doing the broadcast. I know you had a little goof, but it happens. And all you got to do is to remember to hit that button, that one extra button, and you'll be all right in the future. So also got to thank Tyler for hosting the league. And we'll go get him next week.
So certainly be looking to get them next week as well, and you'll be looking to get your 10th win in a row here in NR2003 tomorrow evening in Bristol. What league is that, just so we all know where to tune in?
Well, so it's at Bomb Squad, but it's off season. So I've been racing over there. It's just been fun runs on Thursdays, but none of those wins count towards my actual stat total that I keep track of because they're just fun runs. They're off season runs, but technically speaking, it would be, 10 in a row if I got the win tomorrow night. As far as races that are counting towards my total, I have won 7 in a row of the 9.
Well, hey, a little bit more of that, and you might be able to give William Byron and Connor Zillich a run for their money in terms of starting your racing careers on a computer. But another fantastic run out of you this evening, and we'll look forward to seeing you back in the broadcast booth here in the Irish Hills in a week.
Yeah, not me. I'm already 28, and I get motion sickness from G-Force, so it won't be me, bro.
Well, anyway, thank you for coming in, and we'll see you next week in the Irish Hills, Zach. Congratulations.
Right on.
Congrats again.
User was moved out of your channel.
That was Zach Rogers, driver of the number 88 Digital Storm Team Velocity Chevrolet Camaro. And that is going to do it here for tonight's contest. We'll go down through the finishing order, starting, of course, with Zach Rogers winning the race. He finished in first. Apollo Hyde finished in second. Nicky Conti was third. Drew Fast was fourth. And RJ Bishop rounded out the top 5. Vincenzo Focusato was sixth. Tyler Stallhood ended up being moved up to seventh. Rafaela Sorensen eighth. Emi Schizzato got pushed back down to ninth after a post-race reshuffle with the end of the longest line penalty, so 6th or 7th through 9th will read Stallhood, Sorensen, and Schizato. Tretogger rounded out the top 10. Brendan Whitford finished in 11th, Rich Roy finished in 11th. Brendan Whitford finished in 12th. Blake Warren 13th. He was the last car on the racetrack, 7 laps down. Corbin Wentz finished in 14th, and Ike Durbin rounded out the 15 cars that started here this evening. That's going to do it here from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Zach Rogers for winning the Blue Smoke Graphics Crash at the Colosseum here at the Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll see you guys in 1 week's time here on the North American Sim Racing Network for next week's coverage from the Irish Hills of Michigan. So what that race name will be next week. I believe it's the Kettle Lakes 100, if I'm not mistaken. Double checking the name here now. And indeed, the Kettle Lakes 100 at the Michigan International Speedway. Next week, qualifying starting at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and the race starting at 9:15 pre-race. Going on air at 8:50 Eastern Time here on your home for the Fuel Racing League, the North American Sim Racing Network. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Zach Rogers, Tyler Stonehood, everybody at the Fuel Racing League, and of course everybody at the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright, saying so long from Bristol, Tennessee. We'll see you on the American Midwest up in Brooklyn, Michigan in 1 week's time at the Michigan International Speedway. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week at the track.